Once again, welcome back to my basement boatyard. Captain Boat Builder here with you. Happy to be back. Very, very comfortable in my basement. You notice that I am surrounded by all my tools, by my line drawings, and also by a really nice photograph taken almost 40 years ago of me and my son, Matthew, sailing on Lake Lanier. Today's episode is called Varnish. That's all it is varnish. It's been a while since I've been with you. I've been doing things with my family. I've been sailing, and yes, I've been spending a lot of time varnishing. So what you're going to see today are some of the techniques that I like personally. If you go on YouTube and do a search for varnish, there are dozens and dozens of presentations that'll give you tips. And what I find is that varnish, if you like it, tends to be a very personal experience. Everybody seems to have their own way of doing it. So you can watch my videos, you can watch these other ones, and you can find a technique that's right for you. Having said that, a lot of people hate varnishing. So maybe varnishing isn't for you, and maybe it's just paint. But anyhow, varnish is one of my favorite activities. It's very, very satisfying. And all the varnish work on the boat now is finished. So I hope you enjoy this episode. It's a little bit of insanity, as you'll see. We just call this varnish. So remember when I told you that varnish was my favorite part of the boat building process? Well, here's the insanity. This is just the back seat. In other words, all I've sanded is this surface right here and the little back panel. This has taken me well over an hour. Used a couple of sheets of sandpaper, and you can see how much sanding has been done. I've just about got it as smooth as I want it. I'm going to clean it up, put some varnish on it. That'll be the beginning of many coats of varnish. But this is the insanity of sanding and varnishing, and I don't know why I like it, but I just do. So this is my reward for all the sanding, all the preparation. It took a long time just to get here. This is the first coat of varnish. I think you can see, looking at the light reflection, it's pretty slick. And that's what I had in mind. I wanted it to just look like a layer of glass. This is only the first coat. It's probably going to be 5 or 6 coats before I get it just the way I want it. And it's just laying down beautifully. And so if you have the same kind of varnish addiction that I do, this is what you can count on. You know, I'm always trying to figure out how to get a better finish, and so I wanted to show you a little experiment that I did. This is on the center part of the spear itself. This is main deck. And I only really experimented back here by the centerboard trunk. So what I'm trying to show you is on the left side of the picture right here. This is the third coat, and it was sanded very carefully and lightly with 400 paper and a semi-solid block. On the right side, it was sanded very carefully and lightly with the scrubby, the 3M scouring pad. I've been using the one that's sort of a reddish purple color. And I thought that by using the semi-solid block and the 400 as opposed to just the scrubby and doing it by hand, that I would be able to see a big difference in the smoothness of the finish and the wood. And I'll have to wait till this dries, but I'm not sure there's much of a difference. Now I'm continuing with the varnishing on the inside of the hull. Right here, back seat, it's 5 coats of varnish. Center section of the main part of the boat, 5 coats of varnish. Up here, the top part of the spear decking, 5 coats of varnish. I've got the boat rolled up on its side, and it's held in place with a real rat nest of lines. But I've got enough lines so that not only am I holding the boat up in the air so it can't possibly hit the floor, I'm also centering it with this line to stabilize it that way. And I've got this line to stabilize it in the other direction. And it's centered, the weight's centered pretty much on the sawhorses. And I've got these little sticks clamped on to keep it from moving. So it's pretty secure, it's not going anywhere. And now I'll be working on the varnish for this section, and this section right here, this section. And the idea is to do this working as flat as I can so I don't have to worry about the runs. I'll show you when it's finished. So now I've put the second coat on this plank and also on the back side of the main bulkhead. And what I can't really show you, I've tried several times, but I can't seem to get the resolution in my phone good enough. But in preparation for the second coat, I block sanded everything with 220 paper and getting some of the wrinkles out, smoothing it out even more. But what I did find is that the 220 paper leaves scratches in the varnish that you can see when the second coat dries. And so I'm going to be continuing to put on more coats, another one today, and I'm going to be using this scrubby pad here. This is the one that's sort of a maroon color. It doesn't really look like it in this image, but what I found is it's very easy to use. It does dull up the surface, and it's fine enough so that there are no scratch marks when you put on subsequent coats. It's also a lot faster than sandpaper. So coats 3, 4, and 5 will be done using the scrubby pad for preparation.
Well, I got the rudder installed, and best I can tell, it's about as straight as I can get it. I'll be able to tell for sure once I start sailing the boat. And if it sails differently on one tack than the other, then there's something wrong with the rudder. But I leveled the boat, I used a plumb bob, I measured and measured, and we'll see. I think it looks great. You may notice that the tiller is different than the stock tiller. It's longer. I hope it'll be more comfortable in the cockpit. That's what I'm counting on. Everything went together pretty well. And like I say, as soon as I start sailing the boat, I'll know whether it's as straight as I think it is. I hope so.
Well, now I can finally say that the varnish is finished. We have 6 coats of varnish here on the nose and the rail. On the top of the spear, we also have 6 coats. And looking aft on the top of the rear seat, we have 6 coats of varnish. Everything else is 5. One of the reasons that this took so long is that I found, at least for my sanding preferences, that I had to let the varnish dry for 48 hours before I put on another coat. And that's so that the varnish got hard enough to sand with a nice fine dust. It says you can recoat after 12 hours, but when you try to do that and you try to sand it, the varnish is just a little on the gummy side. It doesn't sand very well. So in addition to doing these planks, 1 or 2 at a time, as I showed you before, where the boat was rolled up on its side, each plank or each double set of planks that has 5 coats required 10 days. And that's one of the reasons that I haven't posted a video in quite a while, is that this varnish has been incredibly slow. However, it is my favorite part of the boat building process. I find it rewarding. It's very relaxing. Some people hate it. I'm not quite sure why I like it so much. I just do. But it is finished. I'm quite pleased with the results. The gloss is excellent. It's nice and smooth. And now I'm going to show you what it looks like with different lighting. So now we're looking at the boat again, but the only lighting here in the basement is just the natural light that comes in through the windows. And you can see that you have a completely different view of the varnish, different appreciation for the smoothness of the coat. We get the glare just right, and it really highlights the beauty of the varnish. I'm quite pleased. As I said more than once, it took forever, but to me, it's worth it. I'm not quite sure how long it's going to stay looking like this. I'm going to be very careful. No sharp belt buckles or anything like that. Lots of bare feet and rubber boat shoes. I'll probably have to varnish it periodically to keep the gloss high like this. Maybe once a year. I'm not quite sure how well the cover is going to work. But this is the look of the varnish with a different light source and just a little bit different optical conditions, and the glare and the shine from the varnish is quite different in this low light situation. But there it is. I'm almost done. Of course, I've said that before also. I have some things to do with the rigging. I've pretty much got the trailer finished off. I'll be bringing you some of that stuff. But I'm hoping that here we are the middle of June already. I'm hoping to be able to get the boat in the water, start using it, and give you some nice video of the sailing, which I'm sure is going to be the best part. So once again, there's my insanity.